We are live. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. If anyone comes on our YouTube feed and watches this live in the middle of the night in North America, I will personally send you a feisty tank top of your choice. So that's my announcement. We are on episode 7 of the Women of Kona. Today was race day, and I am here once again with the lovely Kelly O'Mara, who is our woman in the know about all things triathlon. And the reason she's in the know is that she used to be the editor-in-chief of Triathlete magazine and recently launched Triathlon-ish, a project with no balls.
Is that how? We have had a long day.
We have had a long day. This could be some podcast.
Got nothing to add to that.
Okay. Okay, so I just want to thank our sponsors for being with us all week long here in Kona. We've had so much fun, and it's been because of these companies. That's it. Try Hard, Coeur Sports, the Outspoken Summit, and USAT. Thank you all so much. And if you haven't entered our contest yet, we have $2,000 worth of prizes and 8 prizes to be won. And I believe that tomorrow, October 7th, is the last day you can enter. So we'll put that in our show notes for you. And so Kelly and I are going to debrief the incredible women's race that we witnessed today after this. Think that winning an Ironman triathlon would be the hardest thing I've ever done. But after starting Feisty Media, I realized that starting, growing, and running a business is, in fact, the hardest thing I've ever done. There are so many decisions to be made, and by that I mean so many things to wake up in the middle of the night worried about. Like, how do I actually make money? How do I manage my business finances? How do I build an audience? How do I grow my team? How do I manage that team? Who do I ask for business advice? And then on top of that, I need to keep learning myself and build my own skills as an entrepreneur, as well as surround myself with other like-minded entrepreneurs that I vibe with. It's been an extremely rewarding journey for me so far, but it's also been extremely challenging. So if you can relate to some or all of what I'm saying, I invite you to join us in Tempe, Arizona this fall for the new and improved Outspoken Summit.
Take a minute to talk about hair. If you do triathlon, you've probably asked yourself questions like, what's the best way to wear my hair during a race? How can I keep my hair healthy and hydrated? And how can I avoid my hair ending up in a giant knot? Enter Try Hard. Try Hard has pre- and post-swim solutions designed to reduce the absorption of pool and ocean chemicals into your hair. We love using Try Hard's pre- and post-swim conditioner before and after every swim to keep our hair feeling great. Try Hard also has a bunch of other products useful for triathletes, like their after swim body wash and recovery bath salts, which have been a hit with the Feisties. Take care of your hair and skin with Try Hard. Use the code FEISTYKONA for 20% off at tryhard.co. That's FEISTYKONA for 20% off at tryhard.co.
Okay, we are back at the Women of Kona. We witnessed probably one of the best women's races in history here today, didn't we?
Yes, period.
Kelly, I am counting on you for some commentary here. Please do not tell me you don't have media training right now, because I need you.
It was one of the best races. At one point, I mean, on the run, there are a whole bunch of stats that I looked up to kind of explain how close it was compared to past years. But that first half of the run, we saw stuff we've never seen before, where there were so many women so close together. We were really seeing changes back and forth that eventually, obviously, people blew up.
Some people blew up.
And I think partially that was because it was so hard and so fast and so aggressive early. And so there was quite a bit of blowing up. But I mean, I felt like it was the best race I've ever seen in person. Obviously it was historic in many ways. Mm-hmm. And then and I'm also I was not impartial at all. I was crying for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think we all were.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I've never seen so many women all at once like off the bike. And a lot of the like in the interviews after, what I was hearing was that like the bike ride was hard, like people pushed, right? And so often when you're out there, you're like, you hear like, oh, I biked my own race, like that kind of thing. That is not what I heard from the pro women today. They were like, it was hard, we were pushing each other, it was a kick-ass bike ride.
This is gonna sound weird, but it played out a lot more like a men's race, where it's a lot bigger group, a lot more like pack dynamics and strategy, and like people making moves and like trying to see if they can break people, and then people, and then slowly like people are imploding later, but it was a lot faster earlier. And I think part of that is obviously it is its own race. It then gets officiated as its own race. Also, we had 15 more people that like, well, it wasn't actually 15 in the end, but whatever. We had more people who then are affecting those dynamics of the race because there's more people that come out together. There's more, right? Like it makes it deeper. It makes it more aggressive. It makes it all kinds of things.
Yeah. Okay. So right after the finish line, we grabbed Chelsea Sodaro, our newly crowned Ironman champion. So let's hear from her. Congratulations.
Thanks, Sarah.
We are so excited for you. Oh my gosh. Did you know that you were this fit?
I knew that I was fit. I didn't pick myself to win the race today. I actually got the flu. I think it was about 5 weeks ago, and I had a training camp planned here, and I like almost didn't get on the plane.
To go to the training camp or to come here?
To go to the training camp, and I thought about just like pulling out of the race altogether. But I'm glad that I didn't.
Yes, we're also glad that you didn't. Oh, and when you came over the finish line, you said that the thing you're most proud of is being the first mom to win here. We were actually sort of in the media area, all kind of going, is she the first mom? Is she the first mom? So you knew that kind of going in.
I'm fairly certain that's accurate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right.
Why is that so special to you?
You know, one of my favorite parts of this sport is the way that we connect with the amateur field. And to do triathlon and be a parent is really hard. To do that with a job, you know, some of our age group athletes, you know, they have full-time jobs, like high achieving full-time jobs, families. And I guess I just want to like be an example of investing in yourself and still having dreams, you know. You can have a family and you can also like chase other goals.
Yes, I love that. Okay, tell us about your day. Did you went out there, you were obviously feeling really good. Was there a point at which you knew like, oh wait, I could win this?
I didn't allow myself to really believe that until I hit the top of Palani, 40K into the run. I think that it's dangerous to really like start thinking about that. Anything can happen in this race. It's a really long day. The conditions are so hard. So I think that you can't really be certain until you cross the finish line.
Yeah, and it looked like you were having a perfect day, but was that the case?
I don't think it was a perfect day. I think that there's still room for improvement. I'm really happy with my swim. I got in a good group, so that was fun. I had people to bike with for the first half of the race or so, which was also fun. Like, I let myself enjoy racing out here, which, you know, I know that I perform best when I really like have fun.
With joy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, and we could see it too while you were racing. It was like you were radiating joy. So well done.
Awesome. Thank you.
Congratulations. You were so amazing. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
How does that feel?
You know, Daniela is like such a class act and an athlete that I look up to, and the way she executes and handles herself. So yeah, I mean, it's really like a privilege to be on the course with her. Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Thank you so much for talking with us, and congratulations. We are so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Okay, well, we are super happy for Chelsea. We did have to check on the moms.
Right. We fact checked.
We fact checked the mom's claim. And Natasha Badman.
Right. So Natasha, I mean, technically, yes. Like Chelsea is not the first mom ever. She's not the first parent, obviously. Some guys have had kids. But Natasha Badman had a daughter for all of her wins. It should be said, of course, that Natasha had her kid 10 years before she even became a triathlete, and Chelsea's kid is 18 months old. So there's definitely a different journey here. Yeah. It's definitely one of those like first kind of like post-partum coming back through, getting back to fitness. Natasha, I think, would acknowledge her experience was different than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what's actually interesting is that, like, to me, when I heard her say that in the finishing shoot, like Chelsea said, she said, like, I'm so proud of myself almost because I'm the first mom, or now we know, like, the first new mom to win here. It's like, I was like, really? You know, like, because there's so many, I feel like there's so many moms in the field now, you know, and I know it's changed quite quickly, but I was like, wow, how interesting to have the only other winner that's also a mom be Natasha.
Yeah, I know everyone was like, wait, that can't be true. And I was just like, yeah, I think it's true, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it's true. So, I mean, not true, right? Like, yes, but I was like pretty sure she was the first new mom, like freshly off the popping one out, getting back out there, you know?
and good for her. And she was talking about that at the press conference. Like, at the press conference, she kind of said, you know, I'm sure my competitors are sick of me talking about motherhood, but I'm going to keep talking about it because other women need to hear it.
Yeah, I've talked to her a lot over the year, like when she was pregnant, when she was trying to come back for Collins Cup, all this stuff. Very detailed about like what it took to and she broke down a little bit in the press conference to saying like it was actually like really hard, I think, for her. Like she it looks easier now, but there was a lot of tough challenges physically and I think logistically, you know, the time of like childcare and managing it all.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on the Women's Performance Podcast and like unpack the details of what that looks like.
Well, I think she's gonna be a media celebrity now, so it might be like Oprah, Today Show, and then you,
and then me.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I'll put our producer Carrie on her. She'll say yes because she knows me.
Yeah. I was telling her husband, they were like, we got a Wheaties box, Today Show, like American Mom wins this race, like we gotta put that everywhere. Like, yes,
I agree. Yeah. And the other cool moment in that clip was when Daniela, for those who are listening, might not have, like, Daniela kind of like video bombed her and gave her a great big hug during the interview. That was kind of a cool moment.
Yeah, I mean, Daniela didn't have we hear from her later, but I think all of the women were actually quite happy for Chelsea because she's also like nice.
Yeah, she's a beloved character in our sport. Is that accurate?
According to my phone, which was just texts of people writing Chelsea ! All day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so we also grabbed the lovely Lucy Charles Barclay, and in the finishing line, in the finishing area. And I don't know who's more kind of out of it, us now or them then, but let's hear from Lucy. Hey, Lucy, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. What a day. I'm over the moon with that.
Yeah, as you should be. You put on such a show out there. We were so excited. We thought before the race, for sure there'd be a couple others sticking with you on the swim, and you just went for it. Did you plan that?
Yeah, you know what? I wanted to get a gap as much as possible, and I knew that kind of there's some strong girls, and in the 3 years that we haven't been here, the women's field has just risen, and I know I've got better, but so has everyone else. So yeah, it was an incredible day.
Yeah, and considering what, you know, your struggles with your injury and everything and coming back, you must be so stoked.
Yeah, you know what? It's second place again, but it feels like a massive win. I have an incredible team to thank for getting me back here. And at the start of the year, if you said I would be back here, I wouldn't have believed it. So to be back and be on the podium is just, I can't even put it into words. I'm so happy.
Amazing. Well, we're so happy for you. Thanks so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lucy.
We're just talking. It's fine. Don't mind us. We're just in the middle of a show.
Lucy seemed genuinely happy with her performance, which I think she should be. I mean, she had a rough year.
Yes, she said it later in the press conference, and she kind of said there that like a lot of people didn't think she was going to be able to finish the run, and I will tell you, every person,
including yourself,
right, every person I talked to this week was like, yeah. We all were like, I think we're gonna see some like walking later, and I know that she had like built up slowly. I know she's been doing all this strength training, and she even talked later about like a lot of it was going to be in her head. And yeah, I mean, she just toughed it out. And she didn't even let herself get run down by Anne Hogg, which is like, that's not only did she finish, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I thought at one point I literally wrote it off. I was like, oh, Anne is going to get her, like, but she didn't.
No. And it was so I was really impressed, and like she should be super happy. I know it's like a little, you know, fourth time second place, like
it's a lot of second places.
But I think this one like meant different.
Yeah. She seemed genuinely happy. And then we also talked to our Iron Women podcast host, Haley Chura, who had an amazing race. Haley Chura, amazing. You were in the money.
Oh my gosh, thank goodness. I need it.
How was your day today?
So hot, so hot. Get me back to Montana. I miss Cowboy.
You did great. This is your best finish here, am I right?
Yeah, it is, which is wild because I think I had my worst ever swim.
Yeah, there were a lot of great swimmers, but yeah, congratulations. You did amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, if anyone needs a bike, there's a green and yellow one for sale in transition.
Is this one of these races where you retired during the race?
Yeah, definitely.
Haley, I was so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So if you can't tell, if you're listening and you can't really tell, Haley was like, she had like two people propping her up to do that interview. We were just in the finishing area. I feel like she did well to get those words out.
Yeah. I mean, she was, it was funny because the way the finish line area works is you kind of like stand behind the bleachers and grab people as they're sort of carted off towards medical.
Yeah.
And every pro has like 3 people assigned to them to like make sure they make it to doping control and medical. And like, I took a picture of the crowd that was like carrying Chelsea because people then you have to ask your questions as they're going. So everyone's delirious.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. Like you're like, and I feel bad like shoving a microphone in someone's face when they're clearly like kind of out of it. And like, they clearly don't, it's not the ideal time for an interview.
It's great. Yeah.
But Haley came. So let's talk about Haley's race a minute. Haley, like she said, like she didn't have her personal best swim, but she did have her personal best finish. And she came 13th. And as we talked about, the prize money goes to 15. So I think that's pretty amazing.
Oh, it was great. And I mean, she obviously right after you're like seeing everything you did wrong. And she may have had her personal worst swim, but also like the swimming has gotten more competitive. There are some very good swimmers now. It's not, it's quite intense in that swim these days.
Yeah. So yeah, I was extremely happy for Haley. And I had another thought there that I completely lost.
All right. Well,
obviously a very big insight that might come back to me later. Okay, let's take a little break and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk to Daniela Ryf.
Training hard or working hard, That's It bars are the perfect on-the-go snack. They are made 100% from real fruit. Plus, they are totally delicious and have been powering our Kona trip so far. It's always tricky to plan your nutrition when you're traveling, so having something simple and delicious to snack on has been a total game changer. That's It has a bunch of other on-the-go snacks as well, with all items containing 6 ingredients or less. And the best part, That's It is giving our listeners a special discount on all their products. Just head over to that'sitfruit.com and use the code KONA25 for 25% off your order. That's 25% off your whole order at that'sitfruit.com with the code KONA25. We've all been there. 2 hours into a long ride, nowhere near finished, but totally uncomfortable. Shifting back and forth and standing out of the saddle in an effort to ease the pain down there. But bike shorts and tri-shorts should be comfortable. And that's why we are thrilled to have Coeur Sports as one of our sponsors. Coeur tri-shorts have a revolutionary seam-free chamois, which means no raised surfaces for chafing. And every stitch of Coeur's tri-suits, cycling kits, swimsuits, and run clothing is designed with you, the woman endurance athlete, in mind. Yes, you can have it all. Speed and style, performance and comfort, function and fashion. Use the code KONAHOT10 for $10 off at CoeurSports.com. That's KONAHOT10 for $10 off at CoeurSports.com.
Okay, Kelly, let's talk about Daniela for 1 minute. So it's at near the beginning of the race, she seemed to kind of be doing her by the beginning of the race, I mean the swim and bike. She seemed to kind of be doing her Daniela thing, where she comes out a little bit back on the swim, and then she comes through strong at the end of the bike ride. And she did come off the bike first, not with that big a gap. So it seemed to be going well for her at first, and then the beginning of the run, she really didn't look good.
No. And like, I will say, like we kind of mentioned, like this, there are more super swimmers now, and so now you have these like packs that Lucy and Fenella were riding together. Like you do have, it is harder, I think, on the bike now. There were more groups and more people working together, and so I don't think, like you said, everyone said it was hard. I don't think Daniela like easily rode up, because when she finally caught them, like as they were getting to town. Also, there was this one shot where like Lucy did this double take as like she like assumed it was Fenella coming up again to like pull, and she's like, and then she like, oh shit, Daniela caught us. And yeah, I think everyone was like, oh well, now Daniela's here, but she didn't have the gap she usually has.
Yeah.
She's never won. Every time she's won, she is led out of T2.
Right.
And so, and by a lot usually, like, right, or like by minutes. And so we've never seen like a group with her. We've never seen her like respond to a group on the run.
Mm-hmm.
She's never like run her way back. And obviously in races she has, but not here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she didn't look good. At first, I think we're all like, oh man, Lucy's really running fast. And then it was like, no, Daniela doesn't look happy. She didn't look happy.
Yeah, it's sort of like coming off the bike. There were a few people who just didn't look how we expected them to, and I think Daniela was one of them. I expected like normal, strong Daniela, and Lucy was just running way faster, like you said. Then lots of the women were actually like going for it off that bike,
which is why like ultimately we only saw like 2 people run under 3 hours or something like that. And I think that's actually like because we had all these groups, we had this pack dynamics this time, and they could see people. They were like over running a little bit at that start.
Yeah.
A little bit
overrunning. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so I did also speak to Daniela in the finishing area. So let's hear from her. Daniela, congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I don't know if you can congratulate me today.
I think I can. I mean, I feel like you were out there, you had a tough day. It was like any finish here, like you finished, is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the day I was hoping for. I had a really good preparation. I felt actually quite good this morning, and I was very positive and, keen to show great performance. And yeah, it didn't really go that way. I don't really have the answer at the moment. I just felt like, I don't know, like out of breath, and felt like the heat was really hitting me hard. And I had 3 weeks in Maui, so I was prepared for the heat, but the humidity today was brutal. And I think, in the race, I tried my best. I took the risk in the end on the bike, and I didn't, even though I didn't feel great, I pushed probably a bit too hard, but I had to take the risk, and, I wanted to win this race. So I gave it a chance, and probably left a bit too many corners, too much energy there, and on the run it just never felt good at all. I knew it's going to be brutal, and I think in Kona, if you once fade, you really fade hard, and that's kind of what happened. I tried to cool myself, but it's a little bit of a lot of question marks there, but I'll sort them later.
Yeah, and when you finish a race with question marks like that, what's your process? Like, how do you go about figuring it out? Especially because sometimes in a bad race, you know exactly what it is during the race, but when you don't, what do you do?
Yeah, at the moment, I think the best way to do is have some good wine with friends. I'm not going to sort it tonight. I'm also not going to sort it while I'm on the island. I think it's going to be some deep thoughts, and that's for sure. And I'm pretty sure it will hit me quite hard because I felt like I had the perfect preparation. And of course, it's harder than if you know the reason. So, but I'm also pretty sure I'll find out the reason. I've had good races on that island many times, and so I'll sit down with my advisor when I'm back, and then we approach the next.
For sure. And do you use science a lot in your training, or do you kind of go off feel or some kind of combination?
Most of it is still feel, even though that might surprise a lot of you. But
I love that. I think it's great. But
yeah, I think for training it works. For me, it works really well. I do have a good feeling of what's working. And today, to be honest, I also race by feel, and today was actually very, very hard to do it by feel because there were so many tactical things happening, and I did feel like the girls pushed way too hard in the start of the bike. Maybe it was just my bad feeling, but it's hard to say. But I like when you're influenced by a lot of competitions, like in the race, then it makes it harder to then do your race. And I still actually managed that today. I could build my bike, and so that worked out well for me. But it was harder. Like today would have been easier to just look at the watts, but I don't think I would have wanted to know them today because they were not great for me. So that's the positive thing. You know, when you have a bad day, you don't really want to know your what's.
Totally. And it feels like coming out of COVID, it feels like we're kind of in a new era of women's racing. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what happened today is really amazing. That's, for me, actually the only positive I can take out of that race. How strong the women rode is really super cool. I mean, I had to work so hard, and I mean, I've done a lot of races here, and I think we saw the most tactical bike I think we have seen, and there are so many changes. It was even hard to keep up in the race with some penalties going on, and then some new groups formatting. So I think that's it's great to see, and I think we definitely have some really powerful, strong women in that field, and that's and I think one of them won today. So I'm really happy for Chelsea also. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like having sort of all the media attention focused on the women? Did you feel any difference in that?
Well, I felt it was great because we had our own race. That was definitely, there's no interaction. How do you say? No one. Interference, exactly. I mean, of course, there's more spectators if you have two fields together. So, and I actually think they had less aid stations.
They did.
Yes.
On the run? They definitely did on the run.
On the bike also.
Oh, really?
And it was horrible. That's what killed me today. Yeah. I mean, no, there's probably other things that killed me today, but it was the aid station they were like really limited because I took whatever I had, and already on the bike I could. I was like really waiting for the next aid station. Yeah. So I mean, that's
a big difference on a hot day.
Yeah, and it was not cold today.
It was not. It's never cold, but it was especially not cold. I think.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons, but in the end, it was great to see some men out there today. That was cool. But I also like racing with them. I think it gives it also a nice feeling when you have the men also in the start. So I'm not really having a strong opinion in it. I think what's important is that the race of the women is not interfered by others.
Right, like you can have clean, fair race.
Yeah, that's the only thing I think is important. But the rest, I think, with the men is just as fun. Yeah.
Well, from where I'm standing, that seemed like a pretty great race. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Kelly, I thought it was interesting that Daniela noticed that there were kind of less spectators out there.
Yeah, I mean, you kept saying that when we were out there that even though the town's been really crowded and everything's been really crowded, there maybe it were less. I didn't notice. You noticed.
I really noticed. I think it's because I had an expectation based on like what was happening the rest of the week, which was that there were more people in town. So I don't think I expected more crowds because I understand that like all the men who are racing on Saturday are going to stay in their hotel rooms most of the day, but there were not as many people lining the streets of Kona today.
Yeah, so the crowds were a little bit smaller. She also clearly noticed that, or felt, and it might have even impacted her, the race was different. It was more aggressive, more like back and forth, more moves, which I do think was a product of like the changes that have been made. And I thought it was interesting that she, didn't particularly feel strongly about having a women's only day, because I do feel like a lot of the women have been like, oh yeah, it was great. Certainly there are pros and cons. Like the Thursday kind of sucks for a lot of people. Apparently it's Thursday.
Thursday today?
Who knew? Yeah.
What?
So apparently like people who have jobs that like matters, right? They can't like watch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think like the pro women have kind of fought, maybe that's too strong a word, but long and hard for a fair race, right? Like that was one of the issues that kept coming up over and over with our issue of having equal slots at this race here in Kona, but also the issue of having a fair race that doesn't have interference with the men. So that's what, and Daniela said that at the pre-press conference as well.
I also think one of the things about having more women here is it also did affect the race, right? More women, the fair race, and like you can get like how many pro men really ever interfered. It really wasn't like that many, and there really weren't that many age group men, but it's also like totally a psychological thing too.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, I thought it was an amazing day. I think our sport is changing for the better for women. And I was very excited to be part of it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I was super. When Chelsea said that she didn't let herself know that she was or think she was winning until at the top of Polani, I was standing there. I just think it was me. I was standing at the top of Polani, screaming at her, "You did it! You did it! Like you're clear. You've got this."
You're the one who told her. She didn't know before that, but then Kelly came in and let her know.
That's right, guys. That's right. And I was like crying. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I think we were all crying. Like I don't think I've ever cried at watching someone else win the Ironman, watching the first woman come in the Ironman World Championships before. Have you cried before?
No, I don't think so. Not the first one. And then like the media people tend to be very dry and especially and the media people are mostly dudes. So let's be real. The dudes tend to be very like, oh yeah, well that's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
And I was like, no one's excited.
We were excited. We were in the finishing. We were in like behind the finish line with the photography area or whatever. We were all like, like tears coming down our faces.
So yeah, it was a very exciting race. Very good. And I guess you guys don't care about the men on Saturday.
Oh well, we might like give them a few photos or something.
You'll watch.
It's still watching a triathlon. It'll be okay. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching and listening for this episode 7 of the Women of Kona series. We'll be back. This episode's coming out on the podcast feed on Friday morning, October 7th. And then later today, we're going to do another episode with Kelly, and we're going to share some clips from the press conference that happened after the race.